All right, welcome back, guys. February 2. Woo, man. Yeah, second month of the year. And just like that, we are through the first 30 plus days of the year. Kind of crazy. January was quite busy for a lot of people. A lot of people in the industry. The sales are robust. Of course, people are talking about coin shows and what they're going to be doing this year. The topic of 2025 coins that have yet to hit circulation. Not for long, though. Here in a few short days, the U.S. Mint is going to be releasing for sale the first American Women quarter in roll and bag form. And usually right around there, we begin to see those coins in circulation as they push production for that. So, again, nothing to be worried about yet. If we are halfway through the month of February and we have yet to see Lincoln cents, Jefferson nickels, Roosevelt dimes, we will be having that ever so important conversation about the ramifications of a late release into circulation for these particular coins. It's an extraordinary year. 2026, again, we're counting down the months. Semi-quincentennial event, the U.S. Mint pulling off all the stops, and I kind of feel like through the first 30 days of this year that we are going to see some pretty drastic changes along the way for coinage being produced for the 2025 calendar year. So we'll kind of keep abreast to that and see where things kind of shape up here over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks. But of course, you guys are here for the errors and varieties that people have found and change through the coin show circuit, coin shops, any way you can cherry pick any of these, featuring also some really banging currency is flying high. And we were due for a video specifically talking about paper money and how much that has blown up here just in the last, I would say, 2 years. It's quite remarkable to see. So we'll do a separate kind of like market outlook video on that. So again, all the coins are raw, ungraded, as you would expect. Nothing new there. All sales finalized within the last, I would say, 36-ish hours. First and foremost, before we dive into these selections, okay, Whatnot, man, it's the biggest platform going right now. The live interactive social media auction platform is the front runner above all else, beating out all of the other pretenders, and we are a huge component to that. Come join us every Friday. We're getting close to that March 4th thing that we've talked about. This week is going to be extraordinarily busy. We do have a Friday show, but I have a feeling we might be throwing in like 2 other shows this week. It is Vault Box release week for Series 9. So, we'll probably end up opening one of those on stream to show you guys what the quality and appearance of whatever coin we receive will come through. But of course, if you've never signed up for the platform, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for 2026? No, I'm just kidding. There's a big, huge QR code. Scan me today and save $15 off. That's right. I'm giving you $15, ladies and gents, if you sign up today on your very first item purchase. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for me, but any one of the great Whatnot sellers on the platform. All right. Pretty easy. It's fun. It can be a little bit of an addictive experience. And it's a great platform to be a part of when you're looking to enhance your collection today. There's been some screamer deals out there. I know I've been giving away a few coins myself. No fault of my own, all right, because the competition is fierce on the platform, and the hobby is at an all-time high right now with just everything going on. All right, so let's go ahead and bounce right into these. We have about 20-ish items here to talk about, so a little bit abbreviated PCMR schedule for the day, for the weekend. How about this one, 1969B? Kicking it off with currency. Again, currency huge right now. This particular one, keeping in mind that it is a very well circulated note, But when you look at the overprint with the serial numbers and district seals, they're all misaligned to the right. All right, that is not within the normal standard confines of what the placement is of that overprint. So probably the whole sheet was misaligned before the overprint was applied. So I don't know how many they've pulled out and destroyed. We do know that this particular one right here ended up released, and won't be the first time that we look at this note today or in the future. Misaligned print notes, dramatic, very collectible, and the market just continues to be very favorable on these. So this one right here, a beautiful earlier date note. When we look at the reverse, it's in a currency sleeve, so they did have a little sticker there, that pink sticker. It's not on the note, it's actually on the plastic sleeve. Perfectly centered, in a matter of speaking, reverse on here, but you could actually see the circulation wear on there as well. $131.40 off of 24 bids on this particular piece. Letting you guys know, just because the note isn't pretty, freshly printed, crispy, fresh, it doesn't matter. There's going to be collectors for every conceivable type, and the fact that it's a little bit circulated means that a collector will get a little bit of a discount, whereas if this thing was crispy, uncirculated, as if it was printed yesterday, it probably would command about $100 more in today's market. Next one that we have here, one of my favorite cherry picks. This particular coin right here is in halfway decent shape. You know, it's a good solid good 6 grade-wise. It's the 1894 repunch date. They refer to it as 1894 over 1894, every single digit of the date repunched. And while this one is a lower grade example, much higher graded pieces will command hundreds of dollars. But, you know, consider this kind of like semi the floor of what you can expect for this. Now, when we look up the close up, you can see just the doubling, especially on the 8, 9, and 4. It's very evident that 4 is crazy. This particular piece ended up being scooped up in a buy it now kind of format for $62.99, and that's including any applicable shipping and shipping fees and all that great stuff. So a very, very notable Cherry Picker's Guide variety, and a top-notch snow variety as well. So if you're out there hunting through Indian head scents, there's a lot of great repunch dates, misplaced dates, and various things of that nature that you can't find simply by going through one of the most well-collected series out there. Next one that we have here should be no stranger to the PCMR. 1995 Lincoln Memorial Scent Doubled Dye Obverse FS101. The pictures here are just simply okay. A little bit washed out. Probably too much light exposure from whatever the light source is. But nonetheless, it's going to show you everything that you need to know about the coin. It's in pretty nice shape, save for a couple little milk spots on the reverse. The meat and bones and potatoes to this thing is going to be the doubling featured on Liberty and the motto. One of the strongest ones, and this is going to forever live in the lore of some of the neatest new discoveries back in its day. This particular one right here sold for $35.85. I've seen similar condition pieces sell for much more than this. This was truly a buy it now type listing, so someone loved it. They added it to their cart and then checked out. Pretty cool one here. All right, now we're back to paper money. Here's a 1988 small head Hamilton $10 bill. This is what's affectionately referred to as a foldover error. So the corner of the subject sheet was folded over and then printed over with the overprint, that third print process, with the serial numbers and the district seal, things like of that nature. You can unfold it to reveal an area that is unprinted on the overprint area. Pretty cool. I've owned a few of these myself. They're quite dramatic. Yeah, you show them to a friend or a buddy, they make a great conversation piece, but the collectability on these is off the charts. This particular one right here is in decent shape. It's hard to believe, again, it's got the folds, it's got the distressing of just circulation over time. Hard to believe that this thing, made it for as long as it did in circulation. And by the way, the sale price, top notch. $399.95. And I told you that this is a banger of a note. I mean, they are quite expensive. And, this helps kind of quell some of the belief that you have to grade something like this. You don't have to. It'll still command the full brunt of the market potential. In this case, it commanded all the money. So it's, I'm glad to see that a note outside of the currency graded holder, made a pretty good impact. And what's cool is when the note is not graded, you can actually play with a little flap, and show people like, hey, this is what happened here. Help showcase what the note looks like unfolded and with the folded in. So yeah, pretty cool. I like that one. 1980, what is this one? P-Mint, Philadelphia Mint, Washington Quarter. Nice little Broadstruck. There was some, collar issues. The collar was not working very well at the time. So when this thing was struck, the metal flow went a little bit beyond the normal, kind of like parameters of the coin size. This one right here is sold for $24.90. We've seen these before, both off-center and Broadstruck Washington Quarters of the 80s. I'm not going to say they're quite common, but they're easily accessible. If you're looking to put together a date set or things like that, there's going to be enough of these on the platform. And they sell very well. I'm not dismissing the fact that because there is a high amount of supply out there in varying dates that, these things are not worth selling. That's completely false. These, have been doing pretty well. And, $20 to $50 on certain occasions, depending on, what the coin looks like, seems to be par for the course value-wise. Another neat one here. I saw this one the moment it was posted. I thought about putting in an offer, but he or she played around with the pricing quite a bit. Originally had it at like $80, and then with a best offer option on there, which means you could put in an offer that is higher than the $80. And then he dropped it to $56 with the best offer, and then he just went and sold it for $56. With shipping, came out to $60.84, 1976 bicentennial Broadstruck on this one. Very, very similar to the previous coin. It's just it so happens to be on one of the big chasers when it comes to errors. Errors on any of the bicentennial coinage. Quarter, half dollar, or dollar is just simply a big deal to collectors. And with the 250th anniversary celebration next year, coins like this are going to be more highlighted on the secondary auction. As long as they come up for sale, there's going to be a fair amount of activity buying these up. 1929 Buffalo Nickel with a pretty insane detached lamination on the reverse. This is nothing new, and we see this quite often on Buffalo Nickels and on Jefferson Nickels. It just so happens that this one had a pretty substantial flake peel off the reverse there. And this is all due to impurities in alloy mix that created this event. This particular one sold for $19.99. I've seen others sell for more. So, again, basing off of like condition and all that, probably is why this particular one ended at around $20. Woody wood grainers. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, a lot more activity with these neat, artistic, patterned coins. And that's all due to an improper alloy mix. The little bit negligible amount of zinc or tin that they added to the copper during the mix out didn't quite meld together as expected, which will create events like this. And they show equally impressive whether it's a mid-state coin or one like this that has circulated a good deal. Very nice. And I've been collecting these for the better part of the last 2 decades. And now they are exploding. And that's just due to, some extra press. out there. People are starting to kind of wake up to the fact that these have a ton of collectability and that they are a legitimate thing in the error space. This particular one sold for $29.99. It's a 1937, very common date for woodies. Go back maybe 5 years and you'd be lucky you get $5 for this thing. The market is just different right now for a lot of various indices of numismatics. And, we all have to be kind of on our toes because we'll find coins like this that aren't priced accordingly at a coin show or a shop. And you can really come in, snipe these and then resell them for massive amounts of profit. Next one that we have here, a pretty neat one. 2016 D Roosevelt dime with a missing clad layer on the reverse. You can actually see the exposed copper right there. So this particular one, pretty neat. They do circulate and they do pop up on occasion. So make sure you're looking at every coin. I've seen these on wash-in quarters, candy $50 as well, and they stick out like a sore thumb. But at the same time, a lot of people look at this and believe like, oh, maybe it was acid etched or whatever. And you'll know the moment you see and find one, you'll know the difference. This one right here, nice price tag at $59.13. So someone definitely wanted that one. It's a confirmed sale, and dimes. They're back in business. 1950 D Lincoln wheat cent. Talk about a tough date for an off-center strike. We don't see this date that much with a Broadstruck or off-center, and there are a number of people that I know that collect these going all the way back to, I guess you could say 1909. There have only been maybe one or two confirmed 1909 dated off-center strike Lincolns that have shown up in the market over the last, say, 25 years. They're that scarce. This one, a pretty tough date, not one that we see. It's actually in really great shape. It's a red-brown. I would say probably a low-end BU, mid-state 61, 62 level. And it sold for $49.51, which is exactly where I, find that wheelhouse to be on similar dated coins. 1946D, you'll notice that this one is a RPM number 4 and a pretty nice, kind of like, 64 level full red Lincoln. D over D is what this one is. Always look at your Lincoln sets, guys. The mint mark holds some pretty mysterious powers, especially on the resale market. So you can see the secondary punch Denver mint mark that is north and east of the primary. On much nicer graded coins like this one, that's easier to see. On examples that are pretty well circulated, you'll know that there's like grease and dirt gunked all around the devices. This one might be a tough find with all that wear on there. So this one in this condition, $18.19. BU rolls would hold the key to some of these varieties, along with some doubled dies as well. So always look at those. Pretty neat one here, although we've covered this one, quite extensively. It's a Jefferson Nickel struck with a later stage capped die. So there was an actual coin that was stuck to the face of the die, and it was striking other coins, thereby providing a very soft strike, like you see here on this one. It's a very, very well struck reverse, but you can see the softness of the front there. Let's see, where'd we end up this one here? $66.75 for the final sale on there. We also have a 1950A $5 Fed Reserve note. You could call this one either one of two ways. A really large gutter fold or a butterfly fold. All right, they're very similar, especially when you get close to one of the corners. And because of how wide this particular fold is, you can probably make the argument that it's more of a butterfly than it is a gutter. It's just there was a wrinkle in the sheet, and then it was all printed over is how this one occurred. The reverse, equally as dynamic, very attractive. Again, I'm a huge fan of these. 400 $60. Guess what? I'm going to say it again. Not in a graded holder. You know? It doesn't necessarily make all the difference in the world if you grade them. You know? And I have to tell you guys that because we're talking about errors and varieties, they're very distinguished in what they are. And usually folks that buy into these, they have a profound knowledge of errors and varieties that they would rather prefer not to have one that is in a graded holder. And that's good news for a lot of us that actually do this for a living, you know, to make an extra $500 to $1,000 every month or however much, you know, you put into it. You know, it makes all the difference in the world. If you know what you have and you know how to correctly attribute or diagnose something, then you'll do really well selling these. Another one here, 1988A $1 bill with another foldover. And you can see actually some of the obstruction. So there appears to be probably another thing that was overlapping the serial number and the green seal there. Don't know what it is. Could be another scrap piece of paper. But yeah, again, another impressive piece this week. $399 sale on this one. I'm telling you, these things do not last on eBay. And that is it's not concerning at all. It's concerning in a way that, you know, there's just some rapid growth activity on paper money errors to the point that, you know, we have went from notes that originally probably commanded $200 to $250. You know, now we're like double that. So, you know, and this is, again, over the course, I would say realistically, since the, 2020 pandemic, you know, when people were trying to explore how to make some extra money on the side, between, sports cards and coins and comic books and video games and, you know, all that great stuff. Because the common theme between all of those collectibles I just told you is that they're all gradable by some company. Which procs, you know, the overall value and desirability of them and creates what some would say artificial scarcity in a way. You know, and that's something that, you know, depends on the context, you know, that does happen. But again, the folks that are well educated in that will see right through that. 1906 Indian Head Cent. This is actually a very nice coin. I'm going to say it's probably like an AU53-ish grade. But like the 1937 Lincoln Cent, this one is also a wood grainer and a proper alloy mix. Very attractive. Where these are most desirable, ladies and gentlemen, is when you can see them on both sides. You know, a full, complete coin with the wood graining is outstanding. This one sold for $43.64. Again, the market is it's trending upwards for these. So, and there's still a lot of these sitting in dealer double row boxes that are untouched, and you know, people for whatever reason they're just, you know, they're not buying them yet, but they're selling on the platform like they're the most important thing in the world. 1948 Lincoln Memorial Cent. Ooh, man, big, huge retained lamination on this one. The next graphic I'll show you is quite impressive. But there you go. I mean, this is a fair weathered coin. It's not all that as far as like, you know, a high-end gem collectible. But, you know, before I show you the next picture, this one sold for $32.50. You're like, wow, are you kidding me? For a coin that looks like that? Yeah, check this out. Yeah, that's the optics there. When you play around with a little piece of paper, you slide it right under the lamination peel. Man, that's awesome. And that picture, ladies and gents, helps support the price of this one. Because when it's that dramatic and you can see this visually, it makes all the difference in the world. I would challenge you guys to do things very similarly, play around with background colors, and do some various different things that nobody else is doing to really kind of showcase your coins in a much higher quality light than everybody else. Yeah, I mean, 1986 Lincoln Memorial Cent, 1980s coins in general. I just want to say this real quick. We have covered over the last, I would say, 6 months. 1980s coinage in general. Lincoln Cents, kind of like spearheading the group. And then probably I would give Washington Quarters and then nickels, kind of like a close third place there. Varieties and errors, kind of like they're both compounding on this particular decade. There has been some of the wildest, craziest forms of mint errors and varieties that have come out of this particular decade that is just hot off the cuff right now. This particular coin right here with this large cut die break, as you can see there on the obverse behind Lincoln's head, is one such anomaly that we have to be on the lookout for. And they are out there in droves. It just needs astute people to find these because they're out there. You'll go to a bank and you'll buy as many rolls as you want of Lincoln Cents to go through. And this is, especially holding true while we're waiting for 2025s to drop for circulation. This is something maybe you guys can spend a little bit extra kind of time because you don't see this from the 90s. There's not nearly as many, like huge high-profile coins from the 90s other than maybe, like the wide AM or not the wide AM, the close AM 1992s, but those are stunningly rare. 1980s has like just a top to bottom, like full mix of pieces to find. This one right here is sold for $40.99 off of 12 bids. Again, very impressive prices here. Another one here, 1981 Lincoln Memorial. Slight little broad strike, but it does have an indent, which means there is another coin that was overlapping it. Probably a struck coin because you can see some of the brockage on there. 2 coins struck in the striking chamber at the same time. The secondary piece is kind of like a key to a lock. If it did exist and you could combine it with this one, that's where these things get really expensive. However, for the one piece, $41, 13 bids on this one. It's pretty neat, even in this grade state. Again, I'm going to say this. How does a coin circulate this heavily without someone getting the least bit curious as to what that hole is there at the top of the coin? It just blows my mind how much people are just oblivious to such things that roll around out in cash registers or in our pockets. It just goes to show you never know what you're going to find in your change. This is one of those classic cases right here. 1980p Jefferson nickel. This bad boy is off center by a huge margin. It looks like about 65%. Impressive, full readable date with the mint mark, and that matters a lot to collectors. They're targeting, these particular coins because they're doing date sets and all that stuff. So this one right here, $27 off of 11 bids. 1980s off-center struck Jefferson nickels are quite common in virtually every date. So it's actually one of the more accessible, easier date sets to put together, and that's both on P and D mints as well. A couple more remaining. How about 1944? Slightly off-center Lincoln wheat cent here. Again, it's been around the block. A lot of people did not care about this. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall, or at least a patron back in maybe the 50s or 60s, where I could have the pick of the litter of a lot of cool stuff. Aside from the fact that silver still circulated, there are other things like this Lincoln cent right here, which was just amazing. If, you went to a coin shop back in the 50s and 60s, everything is cheap. It's good to dream. People did have their time in the light that are still around today in the hobby back in the 60s and all that did this. But this particular coin right here, very nice. Again, obsolete designed coins that are off-center are always going to be doing well. $40, 19 bids. Love it. And the final coin of the week, we got to end it off on something that is just truly like a car wreck. It's that spectacular. It's like, it's like anything else I've ever seen in my life. 1999, Lincoln Memorial Cent. Double struck, broad struck, with a big, huge, gnarly indent on there. Yeah, did I get everything? I hope so. There's probably other things I might be missing here as well. Not quite an impressive date period, because it's a Zinkin. I would love to see this on like a pre-1982 copper. I think that would just be crazy. But, this thing has a lot to look at. Here's a close-up of the doubled. Yeah, so it struck once, struck a second time, just, slightly off, all center there a little bit. Yeah, I mean, crazy. What else is there to say about this coin? It's just got a lot of... you could spend a fair amount of time just examining this coin. And, it's marvelous. It's a trophy for a lot of people that are into this and want something dynamic. This one is that. $304.99. It was a buy it now of $2.99 and some change. $304 with the tax in there, and that's our final piece of the day for the PCMR. Hopefully that one got your juices like rolling and flowing, because that thing was awesome. Information in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. You know the drill. Please collect it or grade your coins responsibly. That's going to go ahead and wrap things up for this one. Hopefully you guys, got a little inspiration from what you've seen here today. And I hope so. Go out there, find your riches and treasures, enjoy the hobby, as we all do. And thank you again for all your views and support. I hope to see you guys real soon. Come check it out. Check us out on Whatnot. We'll have the links down below in the comment and in the description box. You guys take care now.